Star Trek, right? They take out the W and the A from it.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
That's pretty hardcore. Steve Jobs is scared of you. We will not speak of it. It does stand for talk with a techie.
Right. There you go.
Or does it? Mainly, we were just trying to come up with something that was like theirs to kind of poke fun at them, and that was the only word we could come up with.
Well, I figured that, but I was
Yeah.
wondering what kind of.
Well,
Besides, of course, the crackdown by Apple.
we get a lot of crap other than the Apple muscling around. People are all the time complaining about it. The audio quality is crappy. You don't have Kevin Rose on the show. Why would you call it this? You're just using twit to make yourself famous. Do you think people are going to mistype twit and get twat? It's like, no. And I've actually gone through the internet and searched for this crap. And
But the third or the fourth show, they usually catch on.
Yeah. If you're going to be complaining about stuff like that, we probably don't want you to listen to the show, because I don't like whiny people, and I don't want to have to deal with them. What's up? Are you getting into this?
Yeah.
If I said that word.
What's that?
I know there's a lot of women who would slap me if I said that word.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would actually be a function of the maleness of a lot of the hacker shows. There are not many female hacker radio show producers. It just works out that way. And I'm sure if there were more, they would be listened to.
One of the things that kind of struck me as I was listening to Twit was the way Leo Laporte and some of those folks enjoy, getting together and talking about stuff. And I think Derps had kind of the same idea at the same time. Was it'd be nice to get some of us to conversing on a regular basis, talking about some technology and stuff, and having a regular program like sort of the well-organized folks do on that side of the house. And
Well, they pay their people to be on the show,
oh, really?
or they buy them equipment, things like that.
Okay.
There's monetary reasons for them to get people.
I wasn't aware of any of that. So,
Yeah.
okay.
The money.
I've noticed they've gone, they've kind of gone sellout too, because the last Security Now had tons of ads, sponsored by. And
Well, I don't think any of us-
Right around the corner before it does that.
That is worth noting. I mean, how many of you,
What's
if
that?
somebody came to you and said, hey, we're doing
Oh, I'm
guerrilla
sorry.
marketing, how about if you guys give us some ads? You don't mind that, do you? What would be your response? I'll hit all of you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Say that you get this say NVIDIA goes to you and says, look, we just want this 15-second spot before your show. We'll even record it professionally for you and give it to you with your show name.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't see a point of it, I mean, I think that it's like, I guess if you want to make money, that's cool, but generally speaking, hacker radio stuff, it's just like, hey, we went and got, Audacity, which is this free audio editing program, and we're just going to kind of make this thing and give it away. But I actually wanted to respond to his question a little bit about whether there's been negative aspects from the name Twat. We actually have one of the guys who helps us run the whole thing. He actually put on his resume or an application for getting a job at an ISP that he's an engineer on Twat. And they were like, okay, so what's that? And it actually helped him get a job. So,
We usually use TWA Tech,
yeah.
There you go.
which
Yeah, there you go.
Transwestern
There's your-
Airline.
Yeah, Twat Tech.
Well, let's see. If NVIDIA asked me to sponsor maybe a 15-second thing on my show, I would have to say that maybe if you put accelerated graphic drivers on so I could run them on Linux on my Apple PowerBook, maybe I'll mention you for 5 seconds. I mean, I wouldn't do anything. It would just be part of news that, hey, they came out with this finally. That's it.
The second you have advertisers, you're going to have to do what they say. And then when you're doing what someone that's paying you says, it's a job. And this isn't a job.
Yeah,
It's an adventure.
I come to the same conclusion that once it becomes my job, it is no longer my passion. Therefore, I cannot put my heart into it, and I'm not going to make anything creative anymore. But on the other coin, if the residuals are going to enable me to quit my job, ride a Shetland pony, and eat Jell-O all day long, then by golly, I'm going to do it, and I'm sorry.
Never discount the power of the pony Jell-O.
I most likely, the money would be extra coming from whoever the sponsor may be. So if I'm suddenly not doing what they want me to, then okay, stop paying me. I don't care.
Yeah.
Get fired at a job, they don't like it, some shit. How many-
I was actually rather surprised that Duel didn't get picked up by G4 or something, because he certainly had the talent. Now, it's worth noting the Digital Dog Pound, because what you have there is this site, Digital Dog Pound, which is a forum and a wiki and a number of other resources that people started to work together on. And I know that when I observed it, that a lot of times people would be driven into doing shows because others would make comments and then put them up and say, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And, it has its ups and downs, its politics and its wonder, but, did you find a community? Did the community have any peace with you doing this, or was it just pure listening to the shows and then you found the community?
Mine was purely, I listened to a lot of stuff and I was like, I like this, but then most of the shows I really enjoyed just kind of went away for one reason or another. And so it was just kind of like, I need something that will help me fill this gap. So I need to make something, and it doubles up because I can talk about whatever interests me as opposed to what interests just those people. So I found it to be just kind of like, I didn't know about this whole underground hacker radio community or whatever until I actually kind of got into the doing my own show and stuff.
Mine was definitely community-based. I enjoy all the shows that are out there. I am an idiot, so all my knowledge basically comes from what everybody else decides to put together and say, hey, look what I can do. This is how you can do it too. And that moves me really more than most things should. I really get touched by that, probably more than I should. But that's definitely what drove me. I wanted to give back to the community. And since I'm an idiot and I have no technical knowledge, I figured that there's a lack of a lot of quote-unquote entertainment out there in the podcast. Back in the 30s and 40s, there was a lot of radio dramas. Radio dramas everywhere. And so many sound effects. And, you close your eyes and you sit back, you were there. You're just a shadow. What lurks in the heart of men? You were sucked in, and there's none of that out there. So I'm kind of slowly incorporating that into my show as I get better and better at it. And right now, my show is kind of like Captain Kangaroo, Mr. Rogers, with a little hacker mixed in and some ninjas. So it's definitely very humorous. It's all about fun and mildly serious, but always lighthearted. So.
Nothing is leader than Mr. Rogers and Ninjas. I just wanted to point that out. That's what makes his show great.
Trolley is now controlled by Wi-Fi.
Well, actually, when he was talking about 30s and 40s radio serials, I was really thinking about The Shadow. I wasn't thinking about like the little Orphan Annie serial or anything. Sorry, nobody listens to radio serials anymore. Never mind. You keep raising your hand. What would you like to ask?
I had kind of two questions. I mean, you guys both said, you all said that you didn't really want to work, for money. You enjoyed it, but I mean, at the same time, NVIDIA wanted to pay you, say that your show was sponsored by them, but they would pay you or buy you equipment or something. But at the same time, I mean, it would just be for like a limited number of episodes, and then no way, enforced. What they wouldn't stop you, and if they tried to, then you could just.
All that I personally would offer them is a very. I'd offer them an in-depth look at their product. If they're going to give me money, they're going to give me product, and I'm going to review it and show people something cool that they can do with it. Now, if it's a crappy product, they're going to get a crappy review. They're not buying my, they're not buying my opinion in any sort.
At the same time, I mean, it's not your job.
Well, I'll look at it as a contract basis. They're basically I would be contracting my services to them, but so basically I wouldn't be hired under them. If I really didn't like it that much, then they can go somewhere else. But if they would like to be shown on the show and really have their product shown in a realistic aspect, if they'd really want me to show everybody exactly what they have to offer, then that's what they'll get. And if they don't, then they can walk and pitch it to another fanboy that'll sing their praises for some cash.
I think my answer might be a little different because of all of us up here. I think our show's probably the one that would take the money. We do it for fun. We would do it anyway. We've been doing it for over a year without any sponsorship. But if somebody wanted to give us money for a spot on the show, I think we'd take it because that's a nice bonus. It'll pay for beer or whatever during the show. I think a more interesting question is not so much NVIDIA or someone else like that, but what if it was Sony around the time they came out with their rootkit? Probably all of us talked about that on our shows, and had our harsh opinions of Sony. What would you do if someone like that wanted to give you money, and would that impact your coverage? I think it has to, because if they're giving you money, then they're going to expect you not to say bad things about them. So that would be a tougher call.
That's kind of the same. I don't want to take money and be contracted by someone if I'm going to find out later that their product sucks, or that just because that would keep me from being able to honestly say what I feel about a specific product. And I mean, in my opinion, like if you're getting paid to do your hobby, that is when you've sold out, in my opinion. I mean, no offense to but I mean, yeah.
Oh, the seating's great.
Yeah. So Rick is a sellout, and everyone must stone him later.
That's fantastic. The idea is to engage and embrace your audience and make them feel at one with your...
Except that guy.
Except for that guy. I get it. So the key is really to build and embrace the audience by attacking another member of the audience. All right, I'm just learning the Pony Boy way in 5 steps. Step 1, find an enemy. Go ahead. Was there any? Okay, yep, we're all on the up, down, sell out. Excellent. Okay. Are there any other questions from the audience? Don't want anyone to feel locked up. Oh, look at them all. See, we've stunned them into happiness. The pure wattage of hacker media power up here is very interesting. By the way, I can say that as somebody who has been approached by advertisers for textfiles.com and a couple of my other sites, I generally unequivocally tell them to fuck off directly, usually with a huge stream of profanity and linking them to an essay about why I don't take advertising. Half the time they don't respond. The other half, they proceed to explain to me why I'm an idiot. So, I mean, I've seen that realistically happen, and a lot of that, from my point of view, is just simply from the point of view of that, first of all, in my case, it opens up liability, because I am in some way selling the products, none of which are really mine. And the other reason is that I find more often than not, it's simply because they haven't found the methamphetamine ingredients. So once they do, they're going to be very angry at me, and they're going to tell me that I wasn't what I claimed I was by being me, and not do it. And like I said, more than once I've been lectured to by somebody who makes money saying, dude, welcome to the real world where we do this. In fact, believe it or not, I was actually pursued by someone about the BBS documentary about dramatizing it and selling a script based on it. Not unlike the Dogtown Z-Boys movie that came out that was a documentary and then became Boys of Dogtown. Same idea. Boy, would that have been a bad movie. But I also told him very bad things, and he was very angry. So anyway, that kind of actual thing, because a lot of times people hear this stuff and they'll say, well, these are relatively small audiences, who would go for them? And the answer is, you'd be surprised, especially in today's fragmented world, that yesterday's Hacker Media show is tomorrow's possible new slot on G4. And that in a move desperation, they'll say, let's do Up All Night. Let's try to do something like the Adult Swim guys. Let's just get anyone we can to go into the 2 to 5 slot hour and take a risk. And so these questions actually do come up to you over time. Anyway. All right, so there's no questions there. Now, I know you had one. Oh, look, Bumpies. Okay, yep, what?
What do you think is the most difficult challenge for running your own show? You've been obviously all doing it for a long time, and you must have hit that moment where you were considering whether you continue onward or not.
Most difficult challenge of your show?
For me personally, the most difficult challenge initially was hosting, finding a place to put the show. Because we started out, a friend of mine was like, yeah, sure, I'll host your show on my server or whatever, not expecting anything big to come out of it. And the first few episodes, we got a lot of downloads and ran his bandwidth out. And so he was like, yeah, I know I told you I'd host it for free and everything, but I'm not, and you have to pay me now. I'm not going to host it, and you have to pay me for everything you just used up. Yeah.